Well, hey everyone, happy Bulletproof Monday. This is Susan Sly, and I am here because on Mondays I love to show up and serve. I love to answer your questions on business, productivity, marketing, even work-life balance. So I want to acknowledge you for being here. If you're here live and you want to start sharing this, I would love that. If you are watching this on YouTube, hey, shouts out to you. If you ever want to come live, I will see you on my Facebook channel on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, or 2 p.m. Pacific, rather. If you're listening to this on iTunes, special shouts out to you as well. So it's great to see you, Angie and Bruce. Hey, Ivy, and as all of you are joining, I know there's so many regulars who tune in every single Monday. What this show is about helping people who are in business. So you either have a business, you're thinking of a business, you're entrepreneurial, maybe you're just thinking of doing a side hustle, whatever it is. And so I'm here to help you be able to learn how to grow an effective business in order to scale your business. Maybe you're doing a startup, so whatever it is, special shouts out to you. So today we're going to talk about the 11 fundamental truths of closing a deal. And so we're going to talk about sales. We're going to talk about getting organized. My goal is to help you generate more sales. And thanks for all the love and the happy faces, because yes, you've got to sell, right? Hey, Rosa. Hey, Nicoletta. There's my brand new mom. Loving those baby pictures, girl. Love it. Hey, Amy. So in any business, we've got to sell. So even if you are a physician, you need more patients in your practice. If you are an accountant, you need more clients. If you are in direct sales, you need more team members, more customers. If you're doing a startup, you need people to do your seed round, and then you need customers. I mean, it's never ending. Sales makes the world go round. It is the highest paid profession in the world. That's number one. And number two, as my dad always said, Susan, if you know how to sell, you will never go hungry. So selling, no matter what it is you do, real estate or insurance, whatever it is, it's part of our day-to-day operations in our business. And so many people shrink away from sales. And so my goal today is to help you. And you might be saying, well, Susan, what do you really know about sales? Well, I started my first business when I was 11 years old, and it was actually a Christmas ornament business. And I had said to my dad, can I have some money to buy Christmas presents? My dad, hi, Dad, I know you're watching. Hey, Dad, my dad's name is Joe. So love to you, Dad. My dad always calls me after Bulletproof Monday or reaches out, and he's like, this is what I liked about your show. Why didn't you talk about this? So Dad, here, this is for you right now. So my dad said, no, you start a business. So he gave me a business startup loan. I had to write my business plan. I did it on one page, and I made these Christmas ornaments, and I actually walked up to people, said, hey, would you like to buy it? I got turned down. I had people tell me they were too expensive. They were $2.50. This was back in the 80s. Then, some people were nice enough to buy them. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to, or I don't celebrate Christmas. I mean, I had to face rejection at age 11. And so I made the money. I paid my dad back his loan. Then I went from there. I was doing telemarketing for my dad. Then I went into, in high school, I was selling luxury, like ski wear and Ralph Lauren. Remember in the 80s when we wore like 3 polo shirts at one time? So I was working in a store selling that stuff. Then I went into the health and fitness world. I became the #1 producer in the world, running the biggest division in this chain out of 444 clubs for Bally Total Fitness back in the day. So built the biggest sales team there, built another sales team that generated 1.6 billion, then shattered a bunch of records in the tech space. So I know a lot about sales and building sales teams, and it doesn't have to be so hard. I think sometimes we make it overcomplicated. And so I'm going to walk you through these 11 truths. There are a couple quick announcements. So once a month, I do live coaching, and I would love to assist you, and this is free. There's no obligations or anything. I will mention some of the programs that are coming up, and it's your way to have a millionaire mentor for free. But there is one catch, and you do have to be on my list. Only people on my list, if you go to susansly.com, get on the list. Only the people on the list get the invitation to the coaching, and you can come and ask questions about marketing, productivity. I mean, how would you like to have someone where you can physically ask them them a question without having to pay for their time. And so go to SusanSly.com, get on the list. My class, Organize Your Life, is coming up. The start date is September 24th, is the last time I'm teaching live. And if you're juggling work and life and it's crazy and maybe your relationships are suffering and you're feeling all over the map, this is the class for you. So go to SusanSly.com. You can check it out. There's a discount code, LuckyCat, all small letters. That's going to get you $250 off the list price. So how cool is that? So check it out. Anyway, let's get into these. I always take notes. I write notes on Mondays. I do a lot of prep work over the weekend, really thinking people write in, they ask questions. And this is one of them. How do I close more sales? So if it's you and you've come through on Susan Sly, you've asked the question, or on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, wherever you ask me this question, today is for you. And so I prepared these, and I read from my notes. If you see me speak live ever, I don't read from notes. I have it all memorized. But this is like hot off the presses. It's fresh. So I spend several hours over the weekend preparing for you, and then I make the notes so that I can be here with you and kick it off on Monday to help you become more unstoppable in every area of your life. So here we go. So the first one that I want to give you is really, it's not kidding. It's about getting organized. And if you want to create more sales, you have to be organized. For most people, they don't have a problem talking to people, but they do have a problem with follow-up. And in fact, 80% of sales occur after the fourth follow-up, but most people are disorganized and they don't follow up, and less than 20% of people actually follow up over 4 times. I'm gonna say that again. It was so juicy. If that's all you learned today, 80% of sales happen after the fourth follow-up, but less than 20% of people follow up over 4 times. All right. So when you begin to think about that, you've got to be organized. And one of the things is, when you're not organized, you don't follow up. And so if you follow my podcast show, we're in 109 countries now. I just had Jess Toddfield on. He was a producer at NBC, ABC, Fox News. And he was like, everyone needs a CRM. Everyone needs a customer relationship management system to automatically follow up for you. But if you don't have that, using a whiteboard, I don't care, use index cards, a day planner, do something. Tell Siri to remind you to follow up. But you've got to be organized. So one of the things in terms of sales that I like to do is I'll just keep a Google Doc of who it is that I'm talking to, and I'll take notes in terms of when I'm following up with them, what the conversation is going. And then I also use a CRM. So you can check out agency8.com. That's my digital marketing agency. So I use Keep by Infusionsoft. Don't go directly to Infusionsoft because you won't be associated with the agency. We do thousands of dollars in free training every single month, and you won't be associated with us if you go through there. So you can check it out on agency8.com. We have a little video you have to watch before you join the agency, but you can do that. So using a CRM, that's going to create some automated follow-up for you. But these are the 2 fundamental things I use. I also will use Siri. I won't say it because Siri will come on, but I'll tell Siri to remind me to follow up with someone. And then, of course, I use a day planner. I also use a notebook. So every conversation that I have, I'm taking copious notes. And in my different businesses, I have people that I'm following up in different businesses, if you can imagine. So if, for example, in Radius, we're in our seed funding round right now, and then we're going to Series A, and we're almost done our seed funding round. So I have a list of people that Jeff Cox, who's one of the original founders, and I are following up with. And so that's a lot of fun. And then it's a Google Doc is a living document. So I'm putting my notes in, Jeff's putting his notes in as an example. So in my direct sales business, I also have a list of people that I'm talking to. And so you can, again, you can use big sheets of paper, you can use a whiteboard. I'm just telling you the things that I do to keep myself organized. And the next tip that I have, number 2, is you want to have more prospects in your pipeline than you actually require in sales. So for example, if you're doing a startup and you say you're doing a $3 million funding round and the minimum buy-in is $100,000, you might have to have, in order to get 30 people to put in $100,000, you might have to have a list of 200 people. or more, because not everyone that you know potentially can just write a check for $100,000. Now, some people might write a check for 500, some people might write a check for 250, and that makes it go by a lot faster. But the biggest problem I see with people is they're like, well, I want to bring in 5 clients, or I want to bring in 5 funders, and their list is only 5 people long. Your list has to be at least 10 to 20 times bigger than the number of people you require. I'm going to say that again. Your list has to be 10 to 20 times bigger than the number of people you require. So at Radius with Series A, we're talking to several VCs, the venture capitalists. We're talking to several funders, and we have a minimum buy-in in our Series A. How big do you think the list is between our whole executive team? It's massive, because we're asking people for very large investments, or firms for very large investments for the Series A. And so the bigger the investment, the bigger your list has to be. That's just the bottom line. So starting to think about that, thinking about how big your list is. Is this list somewhere where you can update it constantly, where you can see it constantly? And again, 10 to 20 times the number of people that you actually require. The third thing is fall in love with your customer and not your product. If you're just doing this because, you know, I want to bring in sales because I want money, well, guess what? You and every other person in business, and there's nothing wrong with wanting money. Money's amazing. If you're a good person, you're going to do a lot of good things with money. My show, I record a show with my amazing friend, Chris Harder. He is one of the top 10 podcasts in the US for the love of money. That show is coming out September 2nd. Chris and I spend a lot of time talking about the abundant mindset, talking about the good things people do with money. It's amazing. So look for that on iTunes, Student Slide Project. That show is going to drop September 2nd, as I said. But here's the thing. If you're in love with the customer and what they're going to get from working with you, the money is going to take care of itself. Okay, but don't be in love with your product. I see a lot of companies, and they're so in love with their product, and they forget to be in love with their clients and their customers, that they stop telling the stories. You know, Donald Miller's story branding, talking about what are those stories. And if that's you, your business is probably stuck, because you're focused so much on how much money you're making that you've lost sight of the people you're supposed to be helping and adding value to with your product and service. And so when I look at people's pitch decks, when I look at promo videos, when I look at marketing materials, if the first thing I see is all about that company and not about what's in it for the person, I know that company is probably not doing as well as it could be. Okay, so why are you in love with your customer or client? Number 4, understanding your value proposition. The value proposition is what is in it for your client or customer. So what do they get from working with you? Are they going to get more energy? Are they going to, be able to have more time freedom? Are they going to be able to, have a streamlined product or service? Are they going to get the best service possible? What is the value proposition that you have? And if you think of some of the companies that have really been quote unquote unicorns, you look at Uber or Harry's or Dollar Shave Club or Airbnb, or a lot of the companies that you didn't even know the names of over 10 years ago. And it's interesting. I always say that a company's made it when the name of the company also becomes a verb. So it's like we're Ubering somewhere, or we're Airbnb-ing it, right? So it's a noun, and then it becomes a verb, and then even an adjective to a certain extent. But when you start to think about it, the best brands on the planet are very clear about what that value proposition is. Even Amazon, it's not about having the best quality products. Amazon's value proposition is about free shipping, right? It's not free. You have to pay for your membership, but it's free, fast shipping. So there's their value prop right there. That's why they're one of the largest companies in the world. So you need to think about it. Take some time today. Revisit what is in it for your client or customer. The 5th thing is you have to recruit yourself every single day. Why are you here? You can't half beep it, if you know what I mean. Know why you're here. Look in the mirror. Okay, why would I use my product or service? Why would I invest in my own company? Why am I going to show up? Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to work more hours. The average entrepreneur works 50 plus hours a week. So don't think, oh, I became an entrepreneur because I want more time freedom. that is a delusion and a half. You are going to work more hours. In one of my ventures right now, I am working just in one, well over 40 hours a week because I'm so committed to it. It is going to win. It is going to succeed. Over 40 hours a week. And some of you might say, if you know my backstory, well, Susan, you didn't have to do that because you were already doing pretty good in another venture that was, I didn't have to spend really more than 10 hours a week in. But you know what? I'm the kind of person that I love to create. I love to see things all the way through. Right. And so that's, from those number of hours. So if I don't know why I'm here every single day, I'm going to become bitter and resentful. It's the same thing for you. If you're not going to sell a thing, if you can't sell to yourself, first thing in the morning, look in the mirror. Why am I here? Why would I buy for myself today? And you have to know it and own it every single day. Next one, number 6 is know your prospect. I cannot begin to tell you how, ridiculous it is, especially if you're selling someone something that is over $500, that if you don't know anything about them, look at their LinkedIn, look at their Facebook profile, depending on the kind of client. So when I go into a meeting, one of the first things I do, I was in Dallas last week, I'm like, who's coming to the meeting? I'm looking at their LinkedIn profile. I want to know where they went to university. I want to know if they have kids. I want to know the jobs they worked at. I'm looking for any way that I can physically find some common ground with them before I get into the meeting. So I'm in a meeting last week, and we're pitching something that's very, very large. It's over $500. And, one guy is also a New England Patriots fan. So we had that in common. He lived in New England, all these different things. And you've got to know people. Don't be an amateur at this. The more money you're asking for, the more you better know who it is you're talking to. The next thing, ask an opening question. So one of the questions I love to ask in any kind of sales scenario is this, and I'm going to just give it to you hand delivered. If this meeting could be fulfilling for you, what are some of the topics you would love to cover? If this meeting could be fulfilling for you, what information would you like to get? If this meeting would be fulfilling for you, what would you like to know from me? So I'm in a meeting and we were supposed to have a longer period of time to pitch. I ended up having like 10 minutes. And so I said to the gentleman, I said, listen, if this meeting could be fulfilling for you, what is it about AI that you would like to know? And they both told me, and one wanted to know about something and one wanted to know about another thing. And so as a result, the presentation went a lot better than me assuming there are certain things they want to know. And so every meeting I go into, I ask this question because I can't stand wasting time and I'm not going to waste people's time. So that's a great opening question. If you're in direct sales, and I know many of you are, getting DMing people and then getting them on a phone call and saying, hey, if this 15 minutes could be worth your time, what are some things you would like to know about my product or service? I mean, hey, why not ask the question? Stop assuming. You get so nervous because you're thinking you have to know everything. Why don't you just ask the question? All right, that was my little rant there. Then number 8, tailor your presentation to what's important to them and not to you. So let's say I'm in the health and wellness business and I get someone on the phone. I'm like, hey, if this 15 minutes could be important to you, what is it you'd want to know? And you're thinking, oh, pretend you have some product that I don't know what it does. But anyway, you're thinking, oh, they're going to want to know about how they're going to have more energy. But then they tell you they actually want to know about sleep. You might have messed this up really badly because you would have been like, energy, energy, energy. And all the time this poor person isn't sleeping, you're probably going to lose the sale. So you tailor, and you have to be able to do it on the fly in terms of what is important to them. So if your person is like, well, show me how this is going to help me generate more profit. Show me how this is going to save me more time. Stop assuming. Ask the question and then tailor the presentation. All right. Next, number 9 is handle potential objections in the following phrase. So this is an NLP term, neuro-linguistic programming. You may be wondering, okay, so you begin to do this. You may be wondering, is this worth my money? You may be wondering, is this worth my time? You may be wondering, is this a worthwhile investment? That's how you handle it, okay? You may be wondering. And so the big objections anyone has in any sales cycle are those following three I meant. Is this worth the money? Is this worthwhile in terms of my time? Is this worth my, worth me investing my hard-earned dollars in this? You may be wondering. So I would say something like this. And I see, it's great to see, hey, Dan's in professional sales, and Susan, and hey, Randy, it's great to see you guys. Christine, I know, Fran. So I might say something like this. I might say, hey, Randy, you might be wondering if, if I, sell you this hat, is your wife actually going to wear it? I just making this one up. And Randy goes, yeah, I was actually wondering that. Right? Or let's say Randy and I are looking at a real estate deal, and I might say something like, Randy, you might be wondering, is this deal going to, is this real estate property going to be successful? Well, here are some stats that I can tell you about the area. You go in with stats, you go in prepared, you go in knowing what the potential objections might be beforehand. You're going to cover a lot of ground. With AI, as an example, you might be wondering, does this compromise someone's personal identifiable information? My answer is no. We use human-centric AI. We don't do facial recognition. We're not storing person's data, right? And you begin to learn what the questions are going to be. So you don't sweat it and you just flow with it, right? Think about it this way. When water is flowing, it doesn't freak out when it comes to a rock. It just moves around the rock. And the same thing, the best salespeople on the planet, like my friend Dan Goodman, who's here, the best salespeople on the planet, they just roll with it, whatever's going on. All right, next, number 10 is ask for the sale. Very few people actually ask for the sale. What information can I get answered for you in order for you to make a decision today to go ahead and get started with me? How do you like that one? What information can I get answered for you? Can I provide you in order for you to go ahead and get started, or for you to go ahead and invest, or for you to go ahead and make a decision, whatever it is? Ask for the sale. Don't be nervous about it. Have the abundant mindset. There's so much, if this isn't for this person, there are 10 other people who it would be for, at least. So when you have that abundant mindset going in, you're going to be fine. You're going to be completely unstoppable, right? So knowing that, and what information do you need to know in order for you to make a decision to get healthy? What questions can I answer for you in order for you to make a decision today to go ahead and place your order, to do whatever it is that you're asking for? Now, the last thing is that, I'm going to finish with this last 11th point of understanding, and I alluded to it in point number 10, is that abundant mindset. You want to have loving detachment in this whole process. And I use the term loving detachment because you can still have a very loving countenance about you, but if this person isn't going to do business with you and you've collected a physical no, not a maybe, let's see, I'll get back to you, but you've collected a physical no, love them and move on. And here's what I found over my career in sales for over 35 years. And that is this. One, some of the people who say no to you eventually will say yes to you. It's just not the right time. Number two, a person who says no to you maybe wasn't supposed to be doing business with you in the first place. Maybe there's, I say God, maybe God has a different plan and that person is not supposed to be in your life. And I've had that happen to me before where, I later went, oh, thank you, God, that person said no, right? Because for whatever reason. Number three, that your no's are going to teach you how to become better. And it's okay to say to a person, I'm working on becoming better. Is it okay if I ask you why we're not going to do business together? And that person might say something like, you know what, Randy, it's not about you. It's just not a good time. Or they might say, you know what, Susan, hey, it's just, I really don't have the money right now to do this. Whatever it is, learn from it. The no's make you grow. You don't learn as much when people say yes as you do when they say no. And so be fluid with it, bless it, lovingly detach from it, have the abundant mindset, and know there are lots and lots and lots of more people out there. And, I just thought of this, that whole last part could have been about dating just as much as it is about sales. I'm not even kidding you. I'm about to celebrate my 15-year wedding anniversary with my husband. So no, I'm not dating. But the reality is, like anything, you don't want to come off as desperate. You don't want to come off as, feeling as though there's only, one person who you can possibly do business with. It's great to have an A list, but you also want to have a B list and a C list. And just know there are plenty of people out there to do business with. So with that, I want to wrap up today's Bulletproof Monday. I do go ahead and read all of your comments and questions. So please, as long as there's no swearing or something, if you're one of those people, I'm going to have a little rant, who's a troll, I'm just going to delete you. I don't have time in my life for that, but I'm open to all else other stuff there. So if you have a question or comment, that'd be great. If you want to share this, go ahead and share it. If you want to tag me, I will do my very best to comment. I do all my own social media, so there you have it. And if you're listening on iTunes and you want to share it on your social media and tag me, I'd love that. If you're watching on YouTube, again, if you want to share a comment, I'd love that too. So with that, God bless. Go rock your day. Don't forget live free coaching. Go to susansly.com. Make sure you're on the list because you're not getting the invitation to the link if you're not on the list. If you're on the list, I hope to see you Wednesday. With that, God bless. Go rock your day, and I will see you next Bulletproof Monday.